We've just got our hands on a brand new Assassin's Creed Shadows trailer, and I'm going to run you through the whole thing frame by frame and point out some of the awesome details that you may have missed on your first watch through, what these details actually mean, and what we can expect from this game. And let's start with the trailer's opening shot, as we can see a man running past a Shinto shrine in the background here, whose purpose, by the way, is to house one of the 8 million kami deities or gods in the Shinto religion, followed by a clip here of Naoe parkouring herself over a tree. Now, this man is wearing samurai armor, but he isn't wearing a samurai family clan crest on his chest piece to identify whom he serves, which was the samurai custom at the time. So I would hazard a guess here that he is a ronin who was a samurai who had no lord or master, which is perhaps why Naoe has thrown a shuriken at him, which, if you didn't know, is a ninja star throwable into his chest piece, which you can see here, and we also see a little later on in the trailer. Now, as he continues to run away from Naoe, I just want to pause this frame and bring your attention to his right hand as he's holding some sort of scroll or document of some kind. So I imagine that's a follow-up clue or new intel piece after this assassination has taken place, or it's hinting to why Naoe is specifically after him, because he's got some valuable information here. We then get a very nice fade into the Japanese province of Iga, which has been confirmed by Ubisoft and is a real place in Japan that we'll be able to explore in game. It's very famous for being isolated in the Japanese mountains and producing several very successful and famous shinobi ninjas. We then get a nice clip of Naoe standing next to her father, as confirmed by Ubisoft's cinematic director Akim Milne, where they're partaking in the Japanese tradition of 2 bows, 2 claps, and 1 bow, which is a ritual that Japanese people do when they enter a sessha or Shinto shrines to pay respects to the gods. Now, as also confirmed by Ubisoft in a press release, Naoe's father is called Fujibayashi Nagato, who was a real-life ninja leader of the Iga ninjas during the 16th century, with his ninjas serving the daimyo of Uma, who were fighting against Oda Nobunaga, whose forces can be recognized by their clan emblem, which is based on the quince flower, which represents temptation, if you weren't aware. Now, this is all lining up pretty nicely here with history in this clip, as we can see the Oda clan killing the people or ninjas of the Iga province, which was called the Tensho Iga War, with Ubisoft confirming in another press release that this attack is occurring in 1581, where the Iga clan actually gets crushed completely by the Oda clan, which we're kind of seeing play out here in this cinematic. However, we do get a quick clip of Naoe attempting to fight off the Oda samurai, with Ubisoft confirming that her father has trained her to fight as a ninja and has instilled values of valor, wisdom, and benevolence in her. We then get a shot of her crying by the water, and what I believe to be her mourning her father, who has just been killed by the Oda clan and is now floating in this river, as his clothes kind of match up with the clip that we saw earlier. And this cinematic scene purposefully draws our attention to this body in the water with a brief pause, which looks like a grieving scene to me. And this is where we get our first look at Yasuke, who was a real person in history and who worked as a retainer under Oda Nobunaga and has clearly participated in the destruction of Naoe's Iga Province. But more on him in just a moment, because this next shot we see the confirmed port town of Sakai, which Ubisoft have stated will be a big trading port in game, with the Portuguese ships being versions of the Black Ships, which is the name that the Japanese gave to Western vessels arriving there in the 16th and 19th century. The Portuguese, of course, wanting to colonize and rule Japan for themselves, which is depicted really well in the recent Shogun TV series. And if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth the watch. But I want to bring your attention to the sails of one of the Portuguese vessels here, if I just go ahead and zoom in for you, which looks, with this emblem I mean, it looks very familiar to me, and it's getting a few cogs turning, and it might look familiar to you OGAC fans as well, as that looks like a Templar cross, or otherwise known as the Order of the Christ Cross. So I think we have our Western Templar agents teased here by Ubisoft, which I think is cool to see. Now, we do get a follow-up clip of Yasuke bowing to Oda Nobunaga whilst amongst Oda's retainers here, who has likely just arrived here in Japan, as he's wearing Western clothes and looks to be alongside the Portuguese Jesuit missionaries, as also confirmed in that same press release by Ubisoft. Now, Yasuke ended up serving Oda Nobunaga for 15 years, as Nobunaga was absolutely stunned by his height and stature, being a large build of a man over 6 foot and having black skin, compared to the Japanese samurai, who were on average around 5'3" to 5'5", and had never seen a man from Africa before, as he was thought to have come from Mozambique as a slave, and that's all down to the Portuguese. Now, in this clip, we see Oda sat in front of his retainers and bannermen as they march to war or conflict of some kind, with these troops holding the Tanegashima weapons, otherwise known as matchlock arquebus firearm rifles, which were introduced to Japan via the Portuguese trade, which Oda Nobunaga took advantage of against his rival clans who didn't have access to firearms or cannons at that time. And even though it wasn't shown in the trailer, Yasuke can equip a rifle and use it as a ranged weapon, so Ubisoft says, and guns aren't a new thing in Assassin's Creed games, so I am interested to see how it works in a small to mid-size setting when it comes to a battle. I mean, if we're lucky enough to actually get those, as I still feel slightly burnt about Valhalla not having them, as we saw that first cinematic years ago depicting this open battle similar to this trailer, so I'm just going to manage my expectations here. Now, that aside, we can see Yasuke walking through the gunpowder mist under Oda's banner, as we can see that from the emblem that he's wearing on his armor. He is now working for Nobunaga, but as he's such a unit of a man, he can be seen wielding a two-handed katana, which is called a okatana, that is longer than a traditional samurai katana by around 8 to 10 inches, which was even more devastating in the right hands, as Ubisoft is kind of teasing and showing off here. In fact, in the same press release they sent me, they did confirm that all the moves that you can actually see Yasuke performing here are possible in game, so do expect a lot of gore, brutal combat with a lot of multi-kill animations that I imagine will be locked behind weapon skill trees, according to a IGN interview, which isn't really a surprise to me, to be honest with you, as that's how Ubisoft likes to operate in these type of open world progression games. Making you grind out the best gear or coolest looking combat moves is going to take you a while, essentially. They also mentioned that this scene in particular is Yasuke fighting against a rival clan, and I'm just going to pause and zoom in here for you on this enemy's armor, because this looks like the Takeda clan if I bring their banner on screen for an easy visual comparison for you, with this clan historically fighting frequently against Oda, so that kind of lines up here quite nicely. We then see Yasuke back at the same river as Naoe in the Iga Province, where it's clear that they do become allies here, united behind a common goal, which I believe is a specific person who was responsible for forcing Oda Nobunaga to commit seppuku, which was the suicide ritual in Japanese culture, and who may also be the person who potentially betrayed the Iga people to their deaths. So both Naoe and Yasuke have a common purpose here and want to avenge their family and masters. But that is a enthusiastic theory from me there, and I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on why they've suddenly decided to become allies down below in the comments. In fact, if you are enjoying this breakdown so far, please do leave a very swift like down below. And I'm also running a AC Shadows game giveaway. You just need to be a subscriber of the channel to enter, and I will pop that link down below. So cheers for your support and good luck to you. Now, we pick up a promising clip of Naoe walking through a busy and very dense street here, which is what we want to see in Assassin's Creed games, of course, and I hope they build on the social stealth that we recently saw improved in Mirage. We then see a beggar give Naoe a piece of paper, which says to me that this beggar is a local spy working for us in game and is part of the new spy network system confirmed by Ubisoft, which I will break down in detail in a follow-up video for you soon, because it is one of the things that I am honestly most excited about. I think it does sound great and does have a lot of depth. But what this says to me is that we can gather intel or clues from local people and then share it with either Naoe or Yasuke, depending upon the gameplay style that you want to take. As we can see here, Naoe passes that bit of parchment which reads, "The enemy is in Takeda Castle," as kindly explained by Ubisoft. So it seems that Yasuke is going to be smashing down doors, or the front door, it seems, as his stature and height is emphasized amongst the Japanese in this follow-up, this subtle follow-up clip, I should say, where a young girl looks at him in amazement. And I do hope these world-building reactions are in the game and not just in this cinematic where the NPCs are kind of visually shocked at Yasuke's stature as we walk through a local province. We then get a look at what is presumably Takeda Castle from that beggar's note, which was known as the Castle in the Sky by the locals, as how impressive it was, and it is now a protected historical site in Japan, if you didn't know. We also see Naoe utilizing her father's ninjutsu training by using a grapple to vault her way up the castle's walls, which is a parkour tool that I don't think we've been able to use or seen in game, if memory serves, since AC Syndicate. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I think that was the last time we saw this kind of tool used. And I had to re-record this particular section of the video as well, because I hypothesized in my first recording that only Naoe would be able to use this grapple tool because of her stature, and that would then be unavailable to Yasuke because he's just such a massive unit and he's not as agile, which Ubisoft have now confirmed to be correct. So if we do find a grapple hook around this large open world game, we won't be able to parkour that way if we are running around as the big boy Yasuke. So I'm hoping for some quick in-game character switches similar to the GTA 5 mechanic if you played that game. If you come across something that you want to explore, and you can kind of switch to Naoe to then do so with the grapple hook, but let's wait and see. We also get some new cinematic music, which I think is by the band Teke, which is a Canadian-Japanese band, as Ubisoft haven't confirmed that this is indeed them yet, but I did see a few of you asking on the recent video trailer I uploaded who the band was, so check them out if you do like their beats. We also see Naoe throwing 3 shuriken ninja stars into the same Ronin, or perhaps it is a daimyo leader who isn't wearing their clan crest on their chest, but it is the same guy that we saw at the start of the trailer. So this trailer is pretty much telling this story backwards in effect. And if I just pause the frame here, we can also see Naoe has a Kasari Gama hanging from her belt, which was a traditional Japanese weapon that was essentially a metal chain with a heavy iron weight attached to the end, which was pretty brutal if you caught the wrong end of that in combat. Speaking of which, we do get a nice dual assassination clip here, which is always good to see in Assassin's Creed trailers. And if I go ahead and pause this clip again on Naoe, we can just about make out some kunai throwing knives on her belt. So there's going to be a lot of shinobi gizmos and gadgets available to us when specifically playing as her in game. Now, as Naoe finishes off the samurai, we pick up this cool shot which reminded me of the old Shogun Total War strategy game, if you played that, where you try and assassinate an enemy in a cutscene. But as confirmed by Ubisoft again here, there will be a dynamic destruction mechanic in the world, with both characters being able to completely ruin a lot of props in the game, completely destroying marketplaces apparently if we want to, including Yasuke here destroying or breaking through these shoji doors, which we have already seen nicely demonstrated in Ghost of Tsushima when it comes to stealth kills. So I would be pretty shocked if this isn't, or if we don't see something similar when playing as Naoe in this game. Now, in this follow-up clip of Yasuke though, he gives us a nice demonstration of the big brutish weapon which was called the Kanobo, which was a spiked or studded two-handed war club used by the samurai in that time period, followed by this very famous or cheesy nod to the classic Assassin's Creed de facto motto. Listen to this.
We are the shadows
that serve the light.
So if you're an AC fan, you gotta love seeing it in these trailers. So another nice nod to the series there. But what's cooler is Naoe's hidden blade here that is rotatable and doubles as a tanto, which was a small Japanese sword worn by the samurai. But in this case, Naoe uses it to great effect as a kind of large dagger, with a fair comparison here, in my opinion, being to Connor in AC3, where he used his hidden blade as a skinning knife. So it's not entirely a new or unique take on the hidden blade per se when it comes to dual use, but certainly a very welcome one for sure, as we will be able to now fight with the hidden blade in this game, as well as use it for other things and not just an assassination cutscene like in Valhalla, or arguably just like Mirage. Now, on top of this trailer, we did pick up a huge amount of new information about this game, including more gameplay details. So do click the video on your screen right now, as I will walk you through all the need to know info so you're fully updated on this game, and hopefully I will see you there in just a second. Big thanks to Nika and Dee for helping me make this video. Sake is on them, and cheers to you for stopping by.